Hey guys, Omegets here, and today I wanted to make a video over Heroic Denathrius from a hunter point of view, kind of giving my thoughts on talent choices and give you an overview of the things that I'm doing to make the fight easier for myself and also to make the fight easier for my raid group. So I've got the VOD of our very first guild kill here taken from my stream, and I've got it up and I'll just let it play. I'm gonna go no sound because I do talk during this because I'm talking to viewers and stuff. And I'll pause as I need to make comments about what I'm doing and just kind of give general commentary over it. So just normal pre-pull stuff here, use my double tap, start pre-casting aim shot at 2 seconds. Sometimes Denathrius like teleports over here and you'll get a weird cancel aim shot cast if you're late on it, so I wouldn't recommend that. First thing I want to talk about is right here on this first Cleansing Pain cast. You'll see I drop Wild Spirits, Volley, all of that stuff. I would definitely hold it until first set of ads at least to get the most value out of it. You'll also see that I'm using Explosive Shot here. In retrospect, probably should not have been using Explosive Shot. I would actually recommend Careful Aim in most situations for this fight. The only time that I would recommend taking Explosive Shot is if your raid is having a really hard time getting these ads down in phase 1. If they're living for a very long time, then I would recommend Explosive Shot then. If not, otherwise I would take Careful Aim. Also, you'll see that I actually use Explosive Shot on Denathrius here in an attempt to cleave onto these ads as soon as they became targetable. You can do it, but I actually wouldn't recommend it now that I've done the fight a few more times because these ads just don't consistently end up close enough to the boss to be in range for the Explosive Shot. So if you are using Explosive Shot here, I would just pick the tightest clump of ads you can find and make that your first cast immediately, and then drop, Wild Spirits, Volley, all of that stuff to round out your AoE. So we're just continuing our phase here. You see our Demon Hunter go out and immune a Night Hunter. You can also do that as a Hunter if you want to. I tend to not because it kind of creates confusion within the raid group if you're not careful, but definitely an option if your group is having trouble dying to Night Hunter. See one of our other Hunters drop all their cooldowns there on second set of ads, and then make sure you're getting in these soaks. We're getting our first Ravage here, so you just need to move, make sure you're making use of your disengage, soul shape, all that stuff. Actually, I would not recommend using soul shape on this to get out of Ravage, and I'll mention why later. So we get our group's second Cleansing Pain here, I drop Volley again, and I get Night Hunter here. I'm going to pause here to talk briefly about an Endurance Conduit that can really help you out on this fight. An Endurance Conduit called Resilience of the Hunter. I'll put that tooltip up on screen in case you're not familiar with it, but the basic gist of what it does is when you feign death and stand back up, it gives you a % damage reduction for 8 seconds after the feign death. It's a really great conduit all around, but it's especially good on Denathrius because all of his major spike damage abilities are very telegraphed. They have cast times, they have targets that are very well known in advance before the ability ever hits them. So if you see an ability like that coming out, you can just feign death, reduce that damage by a flat %, really help your healers out, really help the raid out. So in phase 1, abilities that I would use that on is in a situation like this here. Can't really see what's going on because I'm stuck in a corner, but I'm the main target of Night Hunter. I have the circle around me. I'm relying on other people to soak for me. I'm going to be taking more damage from this Night Hunter than the people that are in the line soaking it. If I'm not doing it here because I was still getting used to using the conduit myself, but if I were a better player, I would be using Feign Death and reducing this damage for my raid group. The other big one that you're going to want to use it on here is Blood Price. When you see it about to come out, pop Feign Death, reduce that damage because it can really truck people if there's a lot of people on the same stacks. Here's blood price. Again, I didn't use Fan Death here. I was not used to using it, but do as I say, not as I do. Definitely a good idea to use it on this fight. Our fourth set of adds, fourth set of soaks. The other thing you want to be careful about here is sometimes it'll target people on the opposite side of the raid with Night Hunter, so you get like an X in the middle. You want to be very careful you're not in that cross section. If you get hit by both soaks on the Night Hunter, you generally just get one shot. Some groups will uncross them intentionally, we don't. So another thing I want to talk about right here is he's about to transition. This is the 5th Cleansing Pain. We get everyone into this one to get everyone down to their 2 stacks. That is, except for classes that don't have to get down to 2 stacks. That is Shamans and DKs. They're never taking stacks here. So the boss transitions at 70.5. We know that. We're pushing him. As soon as everyone takes this Cleansing Pain, we're trying to push him to that so we don't have to deal with these mechanics. Now, as a hunter, there are a couple things you can do here to make this transition a little bit better for you. If you're Night Fae, which I imagine most of the hunters watching this are, you want to pop your soul shape as soon as he hits 70.5%, maybe even a little bit before. The reason you do that is because when you're walking to him in the middle during the intermission phase, you're unable to cast abilities, but any movement speed bonuses that you had going into the intermission are going to remain, and you're going to be able to get to the middle faster. So if you pop Soul Shape here, as soon as he starts to transition, you get pulled in while you're still in animal form. You get 50% bonus movement speed for the duration. Even though you can't blink, you're moving faster, you get there. If you're at 2 stacks, you're going to get there fast enough that you can do an aim shot, a full channel rapid fire, and an empowered arcane shot before he takes you down into phase 2. If you're not Night Fae, or if you don't have Soul Shape up for whatever reason, you can go ahead and pop Aspect of the Cheetah here as well. The initial 90% movement speed bonus will be gone by the time you can actually move, but you will retain that 30% for 9 seconds afterwards. That'll get you there just a little bit faster as well. So that's something that you want to keep in mind when you're about to transition this first phase. See me, I'm running here in Soul Shape, getting there pretty fast. I get here, I do my aim shot, full channel rapid fire, empowered arcane shot, and then I get sucked down. Now, as I'm falling here, I'm gonna target Remornia, or I'm gonna try to anyway. I can't quite see her behind my weak aura. But first thing I do is target her, misdirect the tank that's gonna be picking her up, and then I get aim shot on her. That is to get Serpent Sting from Serpent Stalker's Trickery. And then as the bosses get moved over to these melee adds, I'm gonna drop all of my cleave here, get a power infusion from my priest, and get this 4 target cleave. This is the most value you can get out of your cooldowns here in the phase, so I would recommend holding Wild Spirits. You should have them coming up. If you use them on first group of adds in the first phase, your 2 minutes should be coming up as you go down into phase 2. I would recommend popping it here on this first set of adds. You'll get it up probably right before the 3rd set of adds, and I would just hold them for a little bit until that 3rd set of add comes out, unless your group is geared enough that they don't get a 3rd set of adds and push the boss beforehand. Here I wanted to mention another thing. You'll see that I get Impale here, and I don't Feign Death again. With the Endurance Conduit that I mentioned earlier, Resilience of the Hunter, this is another one of those really telegraphed abilities that will really help out your raid group if you Feign Death and reduce that damage. Just wanted to mention that. Do as I say, not as I do. If you're using that conduit, which you should be for this fight, go ahead, Feign Death if you get the Impale before it comes out at you. And then once your cooldowns are gone and the melee adds are dead, you want to go ahead and help out on these side adds as well. You're going to be one of the biggest sources of range damage that can deal with those. We get sucked in, go through the mirror, use Explosive Shot to get some cleave here. The other thing I want to mention about this is I did say careful aim earlier over Explosive Shot if you're having a smooth phase 1. The reason that I say that is because of Remornia, his sword, which is up here somewhere behind my notifications. She is always above 70% life in this phase. That means that if you are pumping the majority of your aim shots into her, you're getting 50% bonus damage on almost every aim shot that you do. That damage is directly translated to Sire Denathrius because they are sharing health. So it's a good idea to try to keep up Serpent Sting on both Sire and the sword, but the majority of your aim shots should be going into the sword in this phase if you're running careful aim. And also make sure you're farming that careful aim damage on the adds as well. Because if they're above 70%, 50% bonus damage on aim shot is nothing to laugh at. Continue doing the phase. We're about to get our first massacre. Of course, you just wanna. It's kind of difficult to get aim shots out in this phase if you're not careful. Like, if you get a really bad RNG on the massacre lines, then you can't really get aim shots out. Main thing you want to do there is just make sure you're not. Ideally, you'll dump your aim shots before massacre, so you don't have to worry about capping charges during it. But you definitely want to make sure you're not capping focus while you're dodging around massacre. Like, it's easy to fall into just spamming steady shots during movement, but you want to make sure you're getting those arcane shots in there as well, so you're keeping yourself off focus cap and not wasting that resource. So here we get our second group of adds. I had volley, so I'm cleaving onto the melee adds. As soon as my volley is over, I should be switching over to these ranged adds. I was a little slow on the swap here. Another massacre. This overlap gets kind of killer if you're killing adds during this. Just want to watch your feet on these crescendos for sure, and just help get these adds down. Get a Hand of Destruction. I try to eke out some damage here, but you want to be careful just not to stay too long and eat that Hand of Destruction and just die. We have a Demon Hunter that is helping to kill those adds on the other side, so we're gonna get crescendos here in a little bit, and we are verbalizing that in the Discord as well. So we're moving over to adds number 3 here. And this is, you'll see, like I said, third set of adds, we've got our cooldowns up again, so we're gonna go ahead, drop everything to cleave onto the bosses and the adds at the same time. As soon as these adds are dead or our cooldowns are over, we need to go back on the bosses here, because this set of adds actually doesn't have a ranged group of adds. And then we're about to get a Hand of Destruction. There's another group of adds through the mirror, but we're waiting on Hand of Destruction to deal with that. You can go ahead and go through the mirror ahead of your raid group. You'll get pulled all the way back over by Hand of Destruction. You can just go back through the mirror if you want to get those adds down faster. So here we push them to phase 3. Phase 3 happens either after third set of adds or when the boss hits 40%. We push them to 40 here. And your tanks are going to put them on the edge of the room. Here's an interesting thing that I want to talk about specifically for this phase, and that is Shattering Pain. He's about to cast it here. He's got a cast bar underneath my sub notification. I kind of wish I was locally recording this. Future videos will be locally recorded. My file got corrupted on this one, so I had to pull the VOD. But he's doing Shattering Pain here. That's going to knock back everyone in a circle around him. As hunters, we can mitigate that knockback by turning around right as he's finishing the cast. As soon as we start to get knocked away, we disengage. It cancels all the momentum from the knockback, and we stay whereabouts where we were when the knockback happens. So you'll see me do it here. I did it really early, so I ended up in melee group. And then we come out here, we want to soak. This is a very important thing with the Endurance Conduit as well. These soaks feign death, get Resilience of the Hunter going, continue your soaks. On this first set of soaks, soul shape up ideally, because you start soaking these and you're going to get sucked in, and you want to get back out to finish that soak as soon as possible. So we hero here, we drop some major healing cooldowns. Here's another knockback. And I do not disengage this one because I needed to get farther away. There are a few times where you probably will see me disengage here when I shouldn't have, and I make things kind of messy for the melee. So here we've got the pizza sauce coming out. You can avoid this as a range by just standing like near the middle of the room. You want to be careful not to bait it though. Another Shattering Pain. I do this one. This is one that I shouldn't have done. We get a Shattering Pain there, and then we have soak circles, and I make that really awkward and almost end up with overlaps because of that disengage. So you want to be mindful of when you use that trick, but it is a good trick to have. Here, helping soak, I used Feign Death here to get Resilience of the Hunter, and I used Survival of the Fittest, another very important defensive cooldown to remember that you've got. Another disengage there, and we get Massacre plus soaks. This is one that you're really going to need to help out with as a hunter because we can do most of our damage while moving and soak while dodging and still doing our full damage. Kind of where we're really going to shine. Another knockback here. Cancel that. And we get a really bad Hand of Destruction here. Our tanks didn't keep the boss right on the edge because it's really hard when you're getting knocked back, and this is a fight that we're still working on at the time. So this is, I would recommend holding your aspect of the turtle as long as you possibly can in this phase for things like this. And the reason being, I mean, this ability does more damage the closer you are to it. It does less the farther you are away. If you get one that's right in the middle like this, you can't get that far away. It's gonna truck you, so you want to ensure that you're going to live to continue doing these mechanics for your raid and continue pumping your damage for your raid. So here, I'm gonna turtle this one. Everyone ends up living through this because we got a great shot from our warrior. But this is a situation where if you don't have a big raid defensive, then you want to make sure you're using Aspect of the Turtle to make sure you survive this. Also, you can use Turtle to help soak, especially on the double overlap of Fatal Finesse. It's possible to be targeted by both. If you do, you can Turtle and just soak your first one, drop the second one right where you are, and then use Turtle to continue soaking both of them at the same time. That's another great use of Turtle here. Otherwise, I would use it in emergency situations here, like this one. So like I said, we get a shot from the warrior, everyone lives, we're cool. We've got our cooldowns here. Another thing I want to talk about is this phase requires a lot of boss movement from your tanks. So you've got things like Ravage that are going to make you move, you got things like Hand of Destruction that are going to make you move. So you want to make sure those mechanics are a ways off before you commit to dropping your cooldowns on them. So here, you know, I know we just got a Ravage, but we get a Hand of Destruction here, and I shouldn't have done my cooldowns yet. I did. We got a decent amount of value out of them. Shattering Pain here, I cancel with Disengage so I don't go into the pizza sauce because it does damage. We get soaks here, make sure you're helping with those. And we get a Massacre. Another one, soak overlap with Massacre can be pretty brutal for a lot of range classes. We can deal with it pretty well, so you want to make sure you're helping with those soaks. Here, most important Shattering Pain cancel of the fight. I was 100% dead right there without the disengage. That's why you want to learn how to do these. Because if you're getting a Shattering Pain and you're in a bad position where you're going to get knocked off the platform back here, or you're going to get knocked out into this outer edge, this area out here outside the circle absolutely trucks. You want to avoid getting hit by ticks of that if you can. So if you're getting a Shattering Pain and you're back to that, that's what this trick is for on the disengage. You don't necessarily need to do it every time like I was, because it can make for awkward overlaps with your melee, but especially be cognizant of where you are. If you're in danger of dying, getting knocked off the platform by a knockback, use that trick. And at this point the boss is basically just dead, so we kill it. I erupt with happiness, which you can't see because I'm covering it, but that is pretty much everything I wanted to talk about as far as how to kill or how to make this fight easier. I mean, it's not all on you, naturally, but that is everything I want to talk about, guys. That's all the tricks I had, I think, and all the sort of thoughts I had about talent choices and how you need to handle some of these mechanics. Hope you guys found it helpful. I'm gonna leave the full kill VOD after this, so you guys can watch it in real time with what I'm saying and all the game sound and all that stuff. Hope you guys find it helpful. If you did, I'd recommend subbing. I'm gonna definitely drop more videos like this about Mythic Plus dungeons is what I want to work on next. I want to do one for each dungeon. If you like this video and found it helpful, you will also probably like my stream over at twitch.tv/zombieguts13. I stream my raid nights every Tuesday and Wednesday over there, and random Mythic Plus runs intermittently throughout the week as well. And I'm really just hoping to continue making these educational content for hunters. So I appreciate you guys watching. I will catch you next time, and enjoy the VOD.
Let your penance begin. Pain cleanses the soul. Your vanity will cost.
He doesn't have a hardened rage as far as I know, just a softened rage of not having enough space. If you don't kill him fast enough. Yeah, he's just, if you don't kill him before he fills the room up completely, then you just can't kill him.
Rid my castle of these pests.
I'll carve them into pieces.
Pain cleanses the soul.
Weird, you kind of expect him to have a hardened rage, but
Your hubris amassed a debt you cannot pay. Pain cleanses the soul.
we're handling the mechanics really cleanly thus far. And we're way ahead on DPS, we might have to actually slow.
Them across your walls.
Pain cleanses the soul. It is time you remembered your place, mortals. Crawl to me on your knees.
Soft mash, yeah.
And I will
Exactly
grant
what it
you
is.
a merciful end. Servants, remove this refuse from my sight. I will cut you down. Scream for me! Shadows consume you!
Trying my best to keep my dot up on both of these boys.
Scream for me! Remonia, massacre these whelps! I will cut you down! Shadows consume you! Devoted apostles, handle this filth! Scream for me!
Oh, this fight stresses me out, man. I got an impale there I didn't need to get.
Grimonia, massacre these whelps! I cut you down! You will perish together! I cut you down! Come on! Feast upon these meddlers! Scream for me! Grimonia, carve screams from their flesh. Scream for me! Shadows consume you! I have been a patient host. I showed restraint, even courtesy. Yet you continue to provoke my wrath. Very well. You shall have it! You will all die at my feet! Will survive. I am Revendren. Die at my feet! I am Revendren! Brought to heel!
Yes! Yes! god.